Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey, here we are with a very special guest, Ocean. I'm so glad you're here with Okay, you say it for me.
Natsukashii Ink.
Natsukashii Ink. I love it. And it's a Japanese name, right?
Yeah, it means fond memories, good feelings. That's what I really wanted people to wear during my the feeling wearing my clothes.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be like that. That's their go-to piece. All right, I feel good in that. I feel confident in that. That's what I was looking for. So that's why I chose that name, because it resonated with what I was aiming.
I love your background right there. Will you talk about that background?
Yeah, I mean, this one was just one of the pieces I was just doing for fun, personally. Because my brand is all about, high-end clothing mixed with my artwork. That's something I think that kind of stands out for me, is that everything's my original artwork. So this one behind me today was actually just a fun piece I wanted to do. I was thinking about turning it into a canvas or something like that, but I like to have it as my background, because then people get to see what I actually work on.
Yeah, I love that. By the way, Deb Drummond, you are Ocean's manager, and even deeper than that. And I'm so glad to have you here. Alex and I are both really glad to have you here. And Alex is an amazing business person. She's in the process of launching a children's book. Alex, what comes to mind when you think about Ocean and what he's doing right now?
The creativity piece, and like him just like building something that was both aligned with like what's on his heart and how he wants people to feel, right? Right. I mean, Free to Be Me is my children's book, and it's standing for children to be free to be themselves, but not just as children, but to grow up with that. And so right off the bat, Ocean, I just met, but I just feel like you're this definition of what this book stands for in childhood, so that more children grow up just like you, that follows a passion, that really want people to connect with who you are and your gifts and your passion. And that is really, really related to this feeling, right? And that you have given yourself permission, right, to follow your heart and follow what really lights you up. Yeah. And use this creative piece that in my experience, so gets really lost along the way, right? And here you are as a beautiful example of like, this is what's possible when you really give yourself that permission and follow what's on your heart and stay true to you. Like, that's really what landed for me, that you stay true to you and you really own that. And so I want to acknowledge you for that. And that became very clear of the short time that you and I have met, and just really want our listeners to hear that, because you get to give yourself permission to be free to be you, right? It really is giving yourself permission to be free to be you. So thank you for showing that and being an example for those listening today.
Natsukashii Ink. I have to say it again.
You got it, Carol. Awesome.
What were you going to say, Ocean?
No, I was just going to say that so Alice, congratulations, first of all, someone who's in the world of books all the time. I mean, we should chat, and it's really interesting that you say that and that you're here, because Ocean's done 3 covers for people with books. And one of them was a bravery journal, and it was very much activating, right? Activating some of that goodness. And when we talk about making impression, it was a conversation that we've had a lot of. Ocean was asked to go teach at a university in Canada, in Alberta, the Polytech class of people that are looking to be entrepreneurs. They're business students, and they're in uni, and it was so great. I mean, we both got to go. Obviously, Ocean is the creative drive. And, you
Yeah.
know, people say to me, like, how did you, because Ocean started when he was 12, right? And then he got super serious at 15 and then launched really, I would say, considerably at 19. And people are like, how did you keep him like inspired? I mean, he was 15, 16. I'm like, oh, that was not my job. Like my job was to help him learn the things that he didn't learn and hang out with him and, you know, be a cheerleader and an educated cheerleader. But I think that motivation and that passion that you were talking about, first of all, creating space so that it was allowed to unfold. But
Yeah.
when he's going and inspiring people, it's really interesting. Ocean's got two really large buckets of demographic. One is clearly people that are his demographic and
Yeah.
they're cool and great and he's inspiring them. And then the other one
Yeah.
is even his clothing are purchased
Yeah.
because they like the quality. Everyone likes to feel cool and like to feel like they're in a piece
Yeah.
of fashion something. And streetwear is not one demographic anymore, but he's speaking to people in university and talking about the activation of entrepreneurship. It's
Well,
quite incredible.
Debbie, the cool thing about this is Alex's whole world. You're all Canadian. She's living in the country of Panama right now, so that her oldest little one can attend world school there. But she comes from academics in Canada, so I know you can definitely relate to what's happening there. What would you say to that, Alex? In regard to what Ocean's doing, teaching, presenting in university. I think that's brilliant, Ocean, that you're doing that because you have the actual experience to bring to people. And I also really love what you said, Debbie, about giving it the space to unfold. Such a key statement right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we just finished recording an episode on perfection. And what was coming to mind, Carol, as Ocean, with your question, and then, with Deb and what you're sharing with Ocean, you're going to speak to all these students, is it's this, that vision, right? So giving yourself again the permission to have a powerful vision, being
Yeah.
able to dream, and then showing and being the example of like, this is what's possible when you have the clarity, when you surround yourself by the right people, right? Ocean, you just get to do your thing. And I know you're not doing it alone. And if more people could understand that early on, that it's not not a one man show, right?
Yeah.
You're not creating success like by ourselves, like we're
Mhm.
creating success by the people that are in our lives. And that it started as from something that was, being 12 and just showing the different levels of it. A lot of times we think success happens overnight, but what you're showing is the progression of what it
Yeah.
takes and the level of, as you were saying, Dad, like he took it more serious. Like it's in our ways of being, again, thinking of the neuroscience of like when we make the decision, that choice to go all in, right, we show up differently and we then generate different results.
Yeah.
And then we've seen now as this expert, so Ocean's really again just being himself, but based on like internally being like, okay, let's take it serious, right? Deb, you pointed that out, but other people around you can see that too. And you own your expertise. And
Yeah.
that's what really has people attracted, because they're like, Ocean knows his thing. He's not second guessing. He's not getting caught up in perfection. He just does his thing. And there's full alignment with what he's doing. And so in relationship, like that feeling piece, right? It's not all the head, it's so much led from the heart. And that's what's attractive, especially in like the space of AI. Like you're real and raw, and that's what people want more of. And that's
Yeah.
what's it's it's so you're such a beautiful example for young entrepreneurs to see what is possible, because there is so much uncertainty going on in the world. So it's so nice to see somebody like in that category of knowing this is possible, right? You're not
Yeah.
somebody that's down the way you've done this for however many years, right? You're just one step ahead of them, which
Mhm.
makes it seem more accessible, because a lot of models out there, right, have been at it for a really long time. And then that's where other people's internal stories are like, well, I can't do this, or this isn't for me. But you're really being the face of like, actually, no, this is really possible. I'm just a couple of years ahead of you. And if you follow these steps in this map, like you can create this too. And I just think that's really, really neat that you have the confidence to just be yourself and like show and give that give other people that permission,
Yeah.
like you have for yourself.
We're going to hear from
Mhm.
you even deeper here in a couple of minutes, Ocean, what you have to say. Debbie, I know you're having to leave. You and Alex are having to leave early. Before you go, like, I would love for you to share with us a little bit about what it looks like to guide a young entrepreneur and how do you play that role?
Well, it's funny because me and Ocean talked about it yesterday, and yeah, I think the best person to hear from about a lot of this would be him because he's on the receiving end of it.
Yeah,
And we're like I'm a momager. He's my son. We have that relationship. And then also like with my kids, I think there's a high level of respect and friendship.
yeah,
And I think, I used to teach infant massage and things when I was in my holistic health world. And I think there's something about age appropriateness
mhm,
that people sometimes forget.
yeah,
And I think that's where, as someone, if you are coaching somebody, particularly if you're really experienced in that sector, you
mhm,
sometimes have to, how can I say this nicely, muzzle yourself
yeah,
because you can overload somebody with all the things that they should do without allowing them the breathing space to digest the information. Ocean was really dedicated at 15. We launched at 19. Why? Because I'm a single parent and I had to keep, the rice in the bowl to keep our family sustainable. He would have probably launched 2 years sooner. He
yeah,
was really dedicated to quality. I mean, at the end, I was like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, I'm just going to go crazy. How many samples came to our house? It took him 2 years to find the person and the factories that were going to make to his
wow,
point. Now, if I was like, hey, it's been 2 years, most people would be not worrying about his dedication. They'd be worried about theirs. Like you're
mhm,
investing your time and your resources, usually as the parent or the juror to it. And you're like, hey, dude, we need to get this along. But that was a really important piece long term. I think it was helpful that I had business experience behind me. But the other thing is that as you're coaching, you get to a stage, like we're at a stage now where Ocean's really understanding at a different stage. He's been doing this for a while. So then I'm
yeah,
like, hey, what do you think about this decision? And having like an adult conversation and giving them their power, but also educating them in what's the yes thing to do and what could happen on both sides. I think you have to get really used to high level mentoring. It's
mm,
a dedication. Don't go into this thinking it's just going to be small time. If your person that you're mentoring wants to go big, you better, learn really quickly on how to make, the 15 hours of your day turn into 24. So there's some things there. And then, yeah, there's just full fest. I mean, he was dedicated. He sat in CFO meetings and CMO meetings and
yeah,
didn't know and had to learn things. And he can talk about that himself. But it is, it's really, I'm full of a lot of pride. I mean, I think we get really, we have a lot of pride and I know that he's a creative artist. I know that he has, and creatives have their own mind and their own pace and their own
yeah,
way. So a lot of times, and he knows he's heard me say this before, like just because you know a lot about business doesn't mean that you're right.
yeah,
And so
Mhm.
there's that dynamic and same thing. It's hard sometimes for creatives, like he's done 3 book covers, he's done, collaborations with artists. I love this that are caliber of him
yeah,
and that collaboration process. And there's sometimes he has to do things in the work in business that he doesn't like. And sometimes I have to let him make decisions that I would have made differently. But I did
yeah.
want to do a Canadian shout out before we leave because Ocean did the cover. You'll love this, Alex. I'm doing this for you. I wouldn't normally. So, Alex, if you don't have this book, I know Carol does. This was the cover that was done for the 262 women's book, which has hit over 5 million media impressions, which is such a great, great thing
Yeah.
for him. But this book, the badges were just made today. We just got the news at the end of last week
Wow.
that this book was accepted into the Canadian Library of History and Archives, which means that it
Ooh.
will be his picture, his piece of art on that cover will be listed in digitally and also as the book historically forever for
Wow.
professors, for universities, for
Congratulations.
libraries. Yeah, yeah. So I
Wow.
wanted to throw that in there as a fellow Canadian.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
that's definitely worth celebrating. I mean, that is a
Hmm.
big, big deal. And, the work you do is absolutely amazing, Deb, not to take away from you, Ocean, but it's been really fun for me to meet you in person, to see what you do to experience that quality. I love my boxer shorts with that. I mean, they're just so cool. And the hat, and you have a variety of products, the t-shirt and the stickers, and doing these book covers where like with your company, Ocean, where do you um kind of where do you guide yourself in that creative process and what you make yourself available for and what you are creating? So, for example, where you have these pieces of clothing that are very high quality and
Mhm.
absolutely fabulous for streetwear. And yet you're over here making book covers and you're painting. Are you staying in certain lanes, or do you have complete freedom and openness with everything that you allow to open up for you?
Yeah, I mean, I do so much. I do, clothing obviously, but then I also do like custom clothing. I do custom artwork. I do, yeah, like the book cover. So anything that's like you need done for something, like I know people. I got some strange requests sometimes. I
Yeah.
definitely had the uniqueness of a couple people who were like, "Oh, can you paint my gym in Africa?" And I'm like, maybe. I don't know. It was just like, so I really do it all though, but
Yeah.
it's kind of what I inspired to be is somebody I looked up to was Virgil Abloh in this aspect, and in his life he had his clothing brand which is Off-White, but after like throughout his whole life, he near the end of his life he worked on like Rolls Royce, right? And he designed like Rolls Royce, and he did anything he really wanted to do in his life. So I thought that's pretty inspiring. So I try to be like that, where I'm not just in one lane, but I'm just able to do stuff that I want to do, like design
Yeah.
stuff I want to do. And it's always fun. It's always unique. You see what people ask for, and you see what I can come up with my head, which is pretty fun. I've definitely done some couple pieces where I'm like, maybe I just keep this for myself, and I'll give you something else because there's a lot of cool stuff that comes up when you talk to people and what they want and what you come up with. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of like looking like that, like do something I want to do in life.
I love that. And I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I didn't even realize that, you make yourself available for custom work. Um, you probably have mentioned it before, but hearing it again, it's like really soaking in right now. Oh,
Mhm.
what's possible? What would that look like? Um, right now I'm really focused on the retreats, running the retreats down at my boutique retreat estate in the Andes Mountains in southern Chile, and automatically my mind's spinning. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because what you do is so customized and beautiful and special. What does your day to day look like?
Well, I mean, every day is different. Sometimes it's super busy, sometimes it's a little bit slower, but you always do something that kind of keeps you going forward a little days, day by day kind of thing. But
Yeah,
every day is quite different. I mean, most days are designing and then talking to people or setting up dates, like working at trade shows or working at the tattoo show. So that's kind of how it goes. And getting the people, to come to our studio and making appointments like that. So I mean, there's so much. It's not just a normal day. It's always something different. Like so,
yeah.
it's never the same.
Um, have you moved into where you're looking at what kind of publications that you maybe have been in or that you would like to be in?
Hmm. The publications like in like what do you mean by that?
Like
Like some.
magazines and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Definitely. I mean, that'd be cool. We had our own little magazine that we did actually, which is like a little story of my life. Like from there to this to people wearing it, which is that was really cool. But yeah, 100%. We something in like a magazine. That'd be like really cool. I mean, That'd
Yeah.
be awesome to get into like a section like Ocean Bigger and like, the Vancouver Times or Hollywood Times or something like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, those things are possible. You'd be
Hmm.
surprised at, some of the publicists that I could connect you with. And I could see that for you. That's one of the reasons I was asking. Where do you find the most activity on your socials?
Well, definitely on Instagram. When we go to shows and stuff, I always tell them, hey, follow me on Instagram. If you want to message me, text me on there because, that way then I could get to you easier than just, if you call me, I might not know the number. So,
Yeah,
but Instagram for sure. And then now we're doing like YouTube videos. So we did a step by step of like from the beginning all the way cop to what we're doing now. So we're
I
doing
love
YouTube
that.
videos, and then we're doing them on TikTok as well. So you can watch the reels, and then it'd be like mom recording like, "So Ocean, this is this," and then I'm like, "Yeah, so this happened
I
this."
saw one
So
of
that's
those. It was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I loved it.
I know that's something for sure is out of my comfort zone. So I'm trying to get used to that.
I know that
Yeah.
I know what that's like getting when you're the one that's sitting there being interviewed, it's a very different feeling um, than when like I'm getting to have this great conversation with you. But I think that's a really beautiful thing, and that's really what people are wanting to see right now. Sorry, Alex brought that up, the authenticity
Yeah.
in the era of AI. Do you use AI in any areas?
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
I had a one person, interesting enough, they wanted a book cover, and she used AI for her book cover, which nothing's wrong with that. If you want to use that, it's okay. But um, she wanted me, she hired us to do something unique for her instead of like something like one off, right?
Hmm.
So something that took me quite a while to make and something I was really quite proud of. I thought it was actually really cool how it turned out. Not to toot my own horn, but I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty awesome and then she was way happier with it because, it's supporting me. Uh, I guess it'd be an illustrator for the book and
Wow.
kind of showcase me and it kind of showcases her too as well as using like real artists instead of
Yeah.
just using a AI photo.
It's customized
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
And it definitely looked like it because I remember she showed me the photo of the AI one and it was definitely you could tell it was very AI. It was
Yeah.
a couple like icons or something. Definitely not my style. So it was quite unique to say, hey, this is what I got, this is what I came up with. What do you think?
Um, how did you get exposed or connected to Japanese culture, Natsukashii Ink, right?
Yeah.
And even the koi that you have behind you and kind of the nature of the work that you do. Where did that come from?
Well, when I was younger, I was always interested in the Japanese tattoo stuff. I was super into that, and it's something that me and my dad would talk about a lot when I get older, what I'm gonna get, right? And so
Yeah.
it was something that it was always like in the family. Like my grandmother, she does like scenery painting.
Wow.
Um, Dad does interior graphic design, and he
Wow.
had his own like style of artwork as well. And then
Yeah.
mom does like a little bit like the pattern stuff. So it was something that always in the family that we all had something that was like our own style.
Hmm.
And it's just something I gravitated towards too. Like I always, was younger, did my first koi painting and I don't know, it's just something I always just love to do, and especially having the name Ocean, it just kind of fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And now I finally got the sleeve I've always been talking about, so definitely it's always been there.
What led you to Japan particularly as opposed to, any other country in Asia,
Yeah.
Thailand, Vietnam, Korea, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah, I just always loved the artwork. I mean, that's something. It wasn't just because it was like Japan. It was just something that like I personally loved. So, like a lot of people think like, oh, you must be Japanese, but I'm like, no, it's just something that always grew up drawing was like the tattoo work because it was something I was super interested in, and I just
Yeah.
loved the style. I loved the uniqueness of it. It's just something that like stand out, and it was something I actually enjoyed to draw. Like it wasn't like it's not like I'm doing Nordic work, right? Or
Yeah.
like old medieval English because I'm English, but
Yeah.
it's just something I just enjoyed doing when I was a kid and something I bonded over with dad, and that's what we talked about. So it just
Yeah.
comes from there.
Have you gotten like deeper into Japanese culture? Did you ever like or have any exposure to anime or there's so many I love Japanese food, but I also really love the culture too. So I'm just curious if you've had much exposure or chance, or have you even been there? That's
Yeah,
something you should definitely do if you haven't, right?
yeah, no, that was sick. I went there with my cousin. Actually, funny enough, it doesn't feel like it, but I guess 2 years ago we went for 3 weeks. So we traveled through
Wow.
Osaka to Kyoto to different parts of Tokyo to Narita, like that town. So that was really cool experiencing that and seeing what's like there. I mean Japan's culture is super cool. Like everything was so unique there and it's so different from here,
Yeah.
which was awesome. I quite enjoyed it a lot, and especially going there with like my cousin. It was really quite fun because him and I both like the same things, right? Like
Yeah.
we both do love like anime and stuff, and we both watch the same one, which is One Piece, which is our favorite show. But that was really cool and seeing like we went to a couple places where it was like they had these like anime cutout or whatever. We were walking past, like it's so common there that I was like, oh, that's Ichigo from Bleach. Like that was cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was quite surreal, but definitely would do that again.
And what about like alongside that, I know you draw your inspiration from that. What about gaming?
Yeah, I definitely love to play some games. You're right.
Yeah.
I grew up with like Black Ops, like those kind of games.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
But I was
yeah.
wondering like anything in the Asian,
Mhm.
and Japanese focus that if you draw inspiration from any of the games that you do in that way.
Not too many of games. I'd say like, if I create any characters, I would say because I did a lot of like little characters that I've done. I would say definitely more of the anime style, but um a lot of my artwork is always inspired by like the traditional Japanese tattoo work.
Yeah.
I think that's where most of my inspiration comes. Like I like to play some games now and then with like my friends, but I'd say definitely comes from more of the actual artwork scene and learning about it and seeing it in like books and stuff as well
Yeah.
from back then, which is they have like these books you can look through and it's all these like traditional Japanese tattoo pieces
Yeah.
of like even they have some in there that even like the Yakuza had, and I was like, it's really interesting to look through the books and see what they had back then, and
Yeah,
like
definitely.
what they come from. Like even back then, the Edo era, there was like
Wow.
firefighters would have certain stuff to represent that, and it was just cool. Like it was just a normal thing.
Yeah. That is really interesting to be able to look back at the history and the meaning of things. I love that. And it reminds me, do you ever get to visit any Japanese museums? Maybe there are some in Canada as well as in Japan. I'm just curious. I just came back from a month in Seoul, Korea,
Hmm.
and I really love K dramas, J dramas, C dramas,
Oh yeah.
and it's part of the reason I asked about gaming is because I was really surprised to find that they do these huge stadiums and arenas where they actually sit and game just like a rock concert or something. That was super interesting. But back to the reference of spending a month in Seoul, which I absolutely loved. We did my daughter and I went to one of the museums and it was about the 80 years since the Japanese occupation of Korea.
Hmm.
So we got to see the exposure of the art and the story and the history, like what you're talking about. So I was just curious if you'd been able to visit any museums.
I haven't really got a chance to. When I was there, I did more of like those shrines. Like me and my cousin did more of those shrines, like the one in Osaka that's like that big dragon's mouth. That was really
Yeah,
cool. I didn't get a chance to go to really much museums, but I have seen it through like those books and stuff. And even like Korea has a different. It's similar, but a little bit different even for the
yeah,
art style. Like they have like Japanese tiger, and then they have a Korean style tiger.
yeah,
It's cool to think like they're not like they're like far, but something's like so similar. It's cool
yeah.
like to see that artwork back then.
Mm. And see the differences too, the uniqueness of each culture. I think that's been
Yeah.
interesting. That was one of the portions that was covered in the exhibition at the museum we went to is in conjunction with one of the palaces in
Mm,
downtown Seoul. And it was talking about the journey of having been occupied and then they, as Korea, being able to develop their own identity as a country and what that journey looked like. So it was super
yeah.
interesting. Um,
It
and
is super.
yeah, yeah. And the meaning of the name and Natsukashii Ink and the Natsukashi meaning the
Yeah.
feel-good feelings. I love that. It also reminds me of the Ikigai, right?
Yeah.
And some of the great concepts that are translating over. What's your favorite part of business so far?
I think the favorite part of business so far is actually seeing people like wearing it. I think that's for sure the best part. There's definitely parts I don't like that much that make me a little bit, uncomfortable or a little bit worried. But I think the most my favorite part is definitely seeing somebody on the street wearing it who I don't know. I think that's pretty surreal to think like, wow, okay, we're actually doing something pretty cool. Like, we go to the shows and say, "Oh, have you seen us before?" And now people actually saying, "Oh, yeah, I have." Like, oh, that's pretty surreal. So having like almost like a name in like the city you're from, and also like overseas, and going down to LA, and now they actually like recognize our name. That's pretty crazy to me. That
Yeah,
like it was just we had like a couple shirts that I made, and from that to where we are now, which is pretty crazy.
it's really amazing, actually. I could see where that would be a lot of fun because your work is being recognized and valued by people, right? And worn,
Yeah.
which is really neat. Do you think, when you think about business being entrepreneurship, being a journey where, yes, there are success clues and rules and business basics, but would you say the uncomfortable part is that you're carving a unique path?
Yeah, I'd say definitely. There's definitely different parts that I mean, even getting nervous about going to like the Oscars gifting lounge and stuff. Like for sure, like that's something I've done now, but for sure at the beginning I was definitely nervous about, like your different plays, your different people. Um, that stuff is never, but it's also like rewarding too, right? It's a balance, right? You're nervous, but it's also like, okay, it's good that we're here, It's like that's definitely what I mean by like nervous is like something you never done before. Nervous,
Yeah,
right? It's like when you go to a new school, you're nervous because you don't know anybody.
yeah.
But
The
then you get there and you're like, oh, it's cool.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's
Yeah,
that uncertainty that freaks us out. We're like, wait, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And then, like you were saying, getting there and finding your groove and starting to feel comfortable and interact. I'm so sorry I missed you at the Oscars gifting suite. I was represented, but I didn't make it. But I'm glad you got to go to that. That's super cool.
that was really cool.
I'm looking
It's cool
forward to the
being
Emmys gifting suite coming up.
for sure. that was cool because at that time we did like gifting suite, and then uh we were invited to something else, and then like I was VIP, so I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I
Yeah.
I like being VIP. That was awesome because then people were like asking to take photos with me and
Yeah.
interacting. It's like, oh, this is so cool. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that part.
And well, you deserve it too. I mean, you're putting money, wealth is a measurement of value we put into the marketplace. And look at the value you're bringing with your incredible artwork and designs, and even what, Debbie was saying with your the quality control that you have and that eye for detail. Where do you think you got that from?
I don't know what to say. I always just loved like high quality. Like,
Mhm.
I always was into sneakers and streetwear, right? And I'd go to those conventions, and something I learned from growing up was you could have two pieces, or for half the price, or you could have one good piece for
Mhm.
longer. And I think that kind of stuck with me because now I kind of based off that now. Like, I'm like, well, I can have two, okay pieces, or I can have one good piece, right? That's something that always stuck with me. So that's why I really want like high quality, because I want that person to choose that one piece, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's worth it.
I love the idea of shoes. Like, do you do custom? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I do custom. We did a whole custom outfit for me and mom at my first fashion show last year.
mhm.
That was really awesome. They had like the dancers, and they were the models, and they broke out to dance. And I was wearing my whole custom outfit that I've done, and I did a whole custom outfit for mom too. And um, that
I
was
bet your
awesome.
mom rocked it. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's gorgeous. Yeah. Um, yeah, that again, I think opens up so many worlds when you can, reach out to you and say, "Hey, I'd really love this piece or that piece," or, you know, um, I'd really love something for my office or something for myself personally. And it's been really interesting to hear more about your story. And so, as we're wrapping up, I want to ask you, like, what would you tell people who are here because they want to be unleashed and unstoppable?
yeah. I mean, just follow your passion, and each little thing helps you every day, right? Like, even just sometimes like I feel tired too, and I just I do something that I know that's gonna help us later on, right? Like, it could even be like a post on Instagram or saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be here this weekend," or
Yeah,
something even small like that can really just help you keep going. Because I know those days where it's definitely feel like tired, you don't want to do nothing, but honestly, like, just a little something, just even a post can make it, a step forward for you. So it's important to keep going. It's important to keep making those steps, keep making those connections, because you never know who you're gonna end up meeting from that. There's some cool people we've met that I really wanted to meet one day, and it was just because of that.
yeah, yeah. I think I can only imagine the exposure you've had based on some of the events that I'm aware that you've been at. And I love that advice to be unleashed and unstoppable. It's those small steps every day to keep going, right? To have
Mm,
that consistency. And I just want to thank you for being here and for
thank you.
sharing your art and all that you do with the world, because it's a beautiful gift and it's really cool that you're sharing it with all of us.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be on here today.
Yeah, it was an honor to have you. So, I mentioning your website right up front, and
Yes.
I don't think we did it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how
we
can
just we just
well,
updated the whole thing, and have all you can see all the collabs I've done with people. I do so much collabs with other artists out there.
oh, love
Yeah.
that.
Our website is called, well, it's Natsukashii Ink, which is Natsukashii, and then Ink as INK, and then that's our name. And then to get to the website, it's same, but .world instead of .com.
.world.
.world because we are international now.
I love that. We'll definitely have your website in the show notes.
Yeah.
And leave us your Instagram as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Natsukashii Ink underscore NII, the abbreviation version of us.
And will that be your YouTube as well?
Yeah. If you search up Natsukashii Ink, you should be able to find me. Even if you search up Ocean Baker, I believe you could still, it'll still reach you to the website and reach you to the videos and everything like that.
Congratulations on everything you're doing. Thank
Oh,
you
thank
so
you.
much for being here.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexander Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.